Hi Soul Tribe, it's Renee Asiri with InsideJobHealing.com coming to you live with this week's Astro and Energy Forecast. So we have reached the eclipse season. We have a partial lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus, a full moon in Taurus on November 19th. So that's coming up in a few days. So hit me up and let me know how you've been feeling. I know that last week was quite emotional for a lot of us. Somewhat this week as well, a lot of transformations happening because we have Pluto with Scorpio in play, and then we have Taurus as well. So what's really interesting, guys, is that I started the IJH 2-week detox at the beginning of November. I just finished. I feel amazing. And if you want to find out more, hit me up, but it's no alcohol, no caffeine, and no meat, among other things. And it is in the Lifestyle Reset and Thrive digital course. So if you are interested in transforming your life, hit me up, schedule some time. The link is in the bio and we can talk. And so that was such a great time for me to do that because the Scorpio new moon a couple weeks ago really kind of pushed us into this transformation cycle because Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, the planet of psychology and deep transformation and upheaval and overhaul on a very deep psychological level. A lot of healing has to happen. A lot of cycles have to end and new cycles need to start. And so you need to let go of the old in order to embrace the new. So it was such a great time to do a detox. Not to mention the fact that also Scorpio is also ruled by Mars, which is the god of war, the god of, the planet of motivation and action and drive and ambition and all that good stuff. So there was definitely a push for us to let go what no longer serves us because we've been in this push and pull Saturn-Uranus cycle. Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018. And it's just been pushing us to transform, but it's been in opposition to Saturn, the old guard, restriction, limitation, and boundaries. And so we've had this kind of like push and pull all year. And this kind of cycle doesn't happen. It happens every 21 years, so it's rare. So it's definitely been frustrating for a lot of us because we haven't been able to move forward like we wanted to. And in fact, I publicly say that I think for the collective 2021 has almost been more challenging than 2020. Because in 2020 we were on lockdown. Yeah, it was scary. Yeah, it was fearful. Yeah, we didn't know what COVID was. But at the end of the day, we at least, the government supported us and we were able to rest and slow down and stay home for a couple of months. And yeah, it wasn't fun not to go to the gym and restaurants and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there was some rest and rejuvenation in 2020. But 2021 has all been turbulent and uncertain and frustrating. And unfortunately, this kind of cycle is going to last about a year and a half. And so we are going to carry a little bit into 2022, although 2022 is definitely, we're going to have some momentum into that new life and that new paradigm. And actually, that's what this full moon is about on November 19th. It's going to give us a glimpse of that future timeline, of that future paradigm. Because as you recall, I talked about this during my videos at the beginning of COVID. We entered about a year and a half ago, we entered the Gemini Sagittarius North Node, South Node. And North Node is where we're headed. South Node is our karma and where we've been as a collective. And so Gemini is all about technology and learning. And so our learning has really exploded online and people have been working online from home and Zooming, using tools like Zoom and all that stuff. And we've been doing more videos than ever. Businesses, if you don't make videos for your business, you're not going to be very successful. So we've really kind of evolved into this very technological society where our learning is hybrid and a lot of it is online. And we did a lot of online learning, even for children in kindergarten during COVID. So that has come to pass for sure. And so now in January, the nodes are going to switch actually. And so we're going to have new nodes. So we're going to get out of Gemini and Sagittarius, and the North Node and South Node is actually why an eclipse happens, is when the moon is near the North or South Node. And so what's interesting is that we have the lunar eclipse in Taurus, and the new nodes will be in January, Taurus, and also Scorpio. So when you're looking at the North Node and South Node, they actually move backwards in retrograde. So it was in Gemini, so it's moving back to Taurus. and it's moving back from Sagittarius into Scorpio. So that's very, very interesting that we are going to be faced with that kind of dynamic, because I already explained the dynamic with Gemini and how we saw that transform us as a collective for definitely learning online and doing a lot of education and a lot of digital courses online and meetings and work online. Now with Scorpio and Taurus, Taurus is all about beauty and material things and indulgence and almost like that hedonistic aspect of us, and practical earthly matters and very much the material world, whereas Scorpio is really about depth and the hidden world and spirituality and sexual intimacy and complex emotions. So it's going to be interesting as we move in January 2022 into those nodes. And we are having an eclipse now that's giving us a sneak peek of what next year's energy is going to look like in Taurus. And so all those things I talked about with Taurus, beauty, material things, wealth, money making, materialism, all that stuff, we're going to be really looking at that, especially in this full moon partial lunar eclipse and starting next year. So it's kind of going to give you some food for thought as far as maybe your home or maybe your car or maybe the way that you dress or the way that you look. That's all going to come to the surface for you to explore. And I really think that we started this journey in the Scorpio new moon at the beginning of the month, where we really had to face our fears, our subconscious blocks, whether that's in the dream time, in the conscious state, but a lot of us have been really emotional. It's almost like the debris of the past has been coming up to be cleared. And, give yourself permission and give yourself the space. Instead of distracting yourself and keeping busy and always, being on the go or always planning things or always having your phone in your hand, actually give yourself some space to allow some of those uncomfortable feelings to rise to the surface for you to clear them. And I know they're very uncomfortable and nobody wants to sit around and think about their problems and be sad and think about the past and all that good stuff. However, it's not really going anywhere. And if you really want to shift into your new paradigm and you're in the process of co-creating this new reality for yourself, you do have to drop the baggage and the emotional patterns of the past. So it's really helpful for you to take this time, being supported by the cosmos, to do that. And so we are in this evolutionary process. And in fact, I've mentioned this before, I live in New Mexico and I live on my Pluto line, which I said it's, it's really deep transformation. It's psychology, it's healing, it's all those things. It's facing your fears, it's facing challenges, it's facing blocks and really kind of evolving, and it's almost like a death and rebirth cycle. And so I don't normally recommend that anyone live on their Pluto line except for healers. And so I thought that it would be a good idea for me to come here, and I will tell you, I've had to do a lot of initiations, a lot of dark nights of the souls, and face a lot of challenges. But you know what? Every single time I've come out lighter and brighter and just more in alignment with my authentic self. And so this is kind of what this cycle is about, guys, especially in the next month or so. I've said this last video, you're going to feel like you're still slightly in a holding pattern because the momentum hasn't shifted, but just take it one day at a time. Just do what you can. Try not to get too frustrated and just do like one thing a day that's going to bring you closer to your goals and your dreams. And just be patient and know that eventually the momentum will start to move, hopefully in the next month or two, especially with 2022 coming and the node shifting in January. Now, this is something I mentioned extensively in the last video, but also just a heads up that the Venus, which doesn't go into retrograde very often, it's like every year and a half or something like that, is going into its pre-shadow. So it's not officially going retrograde yet, but it is going to the pre-shadow November 18th to December 19th. And then it's going officially into the shadow period from December 19th to January 29th. So just remember, anybody that you meet during that time probably are gonna, you're gonna see them in a different light, and that relationship may not work out unless they have a lot of Venus retrograde in their chart. So just heads up for us single tribe members, that just be careful during that time. And it's right around the holidays. So it's going to be interesting how you're going to be affected, especially with Venus being in Capricorn. It's a very practical sign. You're probably going to be, and Venus does control resources and money as well. It's closely linked to Taurus. manifest. So basically, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of practical holiday gifts you're going to buy, because you're probably not going to splurge on luxury things in a retrograde. So that's going to be an interesting holiday season. And for people who are single or people that are newly in couples. So that's going to be interesting. And then from January 29th to early March, that's when it's going to be in its post-shadow period. So that is like 4 months that Venus is 4 months that Venus is in some stage of retrograde in Capricorn. So just a heads up on that, guys. And that starts on November 18th. So hopefully you have your boo for the winter, and hopefully that's not going to cause too much drama. But that's another thing. Just be careful, even if you are coupled up with someone, with Venus being the planet of love, money, and resources, being, you know, going backwards retrograde in some form and another for the next few months. So just be mindful of how that's going to affect the dynamics of your relationships. So that's kind of like what's going on immediately. There are some other aspects going on astrologically that you can look up online, but those are kind of the main things that I wanted to address today. So just to remember, be true to yourself. Just know that it's okay to shed the past. It's okay to face your fears and insecurities and self-worth issues, and confidence issues, and to truly let go of what no longer serves you. Because if you keep hanging on to it, it's going to be hard for you to propel yourself into your new chapter, into your new cycle. And this is a really exciting time. Astrologically, it's challenging. It can be frustrating. It can be really wonky, you know, very intense energy, because anytime you have the eclipse season, it's a lot of shakeups, it's a lot of intensity. And as you know, the full moon is a time to illuminate what you seeded in the new moon. So whatever you seeded in the new moon, in that new moon of Scorpio a couple weeks ago, you're going to see the fruits of your labor, and you're going to be able to harvest that at the full moon now. It's a time for endings and also new beginnings and manifestations. So thank you guys so much. Like, share, comment, hit me up if you're interested in learning about my one-on-one sessions and my programs in trauma release and lifestyle transformation. Love you guys. Renee Siri with InsideJobHealing.com.